Okay, for our next question, we'll begin with Ms. Rakucci. Unkempt properties are devaluing neighborhoods despite current code enforcement regulations. How can this be remedied?
Well, there's a lot of different kinds of ways where things are unkept. We have code enforcement for things like if there's a problem, you call us and we send out our code enforcement because there can be health, safety, and welfare issues that are involved. And then there's also, why is it unkept? Is there problems with drugs or other things? And we can find out, you know, if there's other things that are going on. So the city has to respect, you know, their property rights that they have, but we also have to respect the neighbors and where they're living. And some homes we're finding there are a lot of foreclosure homes, and what we're doing is having to work with the banks or who are the owners at the time and get on them to make sure that they take care of things. And that's how we're dealing with it now. If it's really unkept or very large weeds, a lot of that is really fire issues, and we check it out in that respect.
Mr. Albert?
Roseville, as I've talked to different department heads, one of the things I found really interesting is they're very, very open to being contacted. And not just because I'm a candidate. Long before that, they're very open. My wife and I could call in and find out, you know, we're getting a lot of mosquitoes. There's a pool in the area that's having a problem. They're not keeping it clean. The city does a really good job of following up on this, and I think they're very accessible. What's really important to you is that you have at least a council member you can go to, and I think many of the council members are open. A lot of us have our phone numbers. You know, the candidates, I'll have my phone number out there. I know a few of the members here have that. You're very approachable, and so if you're not getting your problem solved at the city, call a council member. That's who they represent, and they'll get you the answers. And if they're not, you've got the wrong council member in there. I own property up in Redding, and I know what it's like to have neighbors that have unkept property. It does make it difficult to bring renters in. It makes it difficult to have keep your value up in your property, especially in a tough economy. And so it is very important for our economy and for our neighborhoods to get these dealt with. And it's also going to be more and more of a safety issue because it starts looking like an abandoned home, which draws the kind of things we don't want in our neighborhood.
Mr. Osnick?
There's a saying that if something goes awry, it'll always fall down. Code enforcement is one of those things. If a property next to you is unkept, then code enforcement should come by and notify the people, give them the right notification so they can complete and repair or put it back into a usable thing. There's a piece of property not too far from the Nugget that has been sitting there for a long time, and I still think it's not done right. I think code enforcement needs to do that. Thank you.
Ms. Garcia?
Thank you. Since the downturn in the economy, I, as a council member, have received numerous phone calls with neighbors who have had issues with properties that are not being maintained, and our code enforcement at the City of Roseville is very responsive to the needs of our residents, and will go out there and take care of it. And if it's not owned by anybody in particular, then the banks have been called, and sometimes that takes a little bit longer, but in the end, you know, we do try to make sure that it's taken care of. So we are very lucky in the City of Roseville that we have a great code enforcement department that is on top of all this.
Ms. Gore?
I know that unkept properties have been a real frustration for neighborhoods and our property values and concern about that. And so, you know, we do have code enforcement, and that's great. And I'm certainly supportive of a policy to increase that if we have additional need. But ultimately, sometimes we have to take matters into our own hands. And so here we're sitting with RCONA, a group of neighborhood associations that really are concerned about our communities. My neighborhood just started a neighborhood association. And that's the benefit of knowing your neighbors is, you know, if a property looks really terrible next door, maybe it means getting a group together and mowing the lawn and addressing those weeds ourselves so we don't have to worry about fire and other concerns or vagrants coming in and occupying homes. So sometimes we have to look past government and look to ourselves to try to solve our own local problems.
Mr. Mendonça?
There's a theory, principle in the criminal justice world called the broken window theory. And this is pretty much along those lines. If in a neighborhood you see a broken window, principle is if that window goes unfixed, it will lead to other broken windows because the community is going to see, well, that window's not fixed, so why should I take pride in my house? Why should I cut my lawn? Why should I take care of my property or what have you? So that tends to lead to other problems if they're not addressed. Now, as I've canvassed neighborhoods, you know, in the last couple of months, and some of you here tonight, I recognize I've spoken with you, you have addressed the issue that I've called my neighbor's just difficult, it never changes, you know, he changes his, you know, moves the trailer, he cuts his grass, does whatever he does, and then 30 days later, we're at the same impasse again. All of us in here are a member of an association. That's why we're here. We're all taking pride in our communities. That's why we're here. So I would encourage you, don't give up the fight. I mean, just because you get discouraged, maybe you have a difficult neighbor, maybe you got someone in code enforcement that didn't act the way you thought they should have acted. These people up here who are running for city council, we're here to serve you. If you're not getting the answer you need locally, call us up. I have my personal information on my cards. I know everybody else up here gives out their personal information. We're reachable. We want to hear from you. If you're not getting what you need, that's our job to step in and help you with those things. So I believe that that's something that I would assist with if I was elected. You know, I don't want our neighborhoods to get run down. I don't want detracted home values. I don't want one house to turn into an entire court. And so if you don't reach out to us, we can't help you.
Okay, for our next question, we'll begin with Mr. Alvord. I've combined a couple of questions, so this is kind of a two-parter. Do you believe the city should take steps to actively encourage a college or university to relocate or set up a branch campus in Roseville? If so, please explain how we can attract a college or university to locate here.
Absolutely. Bringing a university to Roseville or a branch campus is going to be incredible for our economy and jobs. When you can bring, and we're working on things like that, to bring in a university, it draws very good quality businesses to the area. Businesses know that when you've got a university, higher education, you've got potential employees. They bring interns in and they're able to stay on. There's some other really wonderful things about universities. They bring in a whole economy of supporting businesses. A lot of other, you know, restaurants and a bunch of things to support that economy of the university. And the university generally has really good jobs associated with it. The other thing that's real important, I just took my daughter down to San Diego a few weeks ago, and my baby girl dropped her off to nursing. And when she's done with that, she may never come back here because university wasn't here. She's going to do internships down there. She might find a job down there. If we can have a university here in town, we can keep that highly educated talent and our family members right here in Roseville and help build up our economy and our jobs with our own people.
Mr. Osnick?
It was my pleasure to serve Dr. Girth. If you know that person, he was the dean of Sac State. I was on a commission to look for a place to put a satellite university site. We looked at even the fairgrounds. We talked about that, and I know Allard, when he was still a council member, said that maybe you could put a university there. We also looked at what is now Placer Ranch, which is north of us, as a usable place. What we don't want to do is look at what was out by Community Creek to buy one university by giving land to the developer to make his own profit.
Ms. Garcia?
Thank you. The City of Roseville formed a university task force that had a number of people from a cross-section of different areas, Sierra College, Sac State, private universities in the area, and they got together and they formed this task force through the city, and through that they came up with a number of ideas of how we can bring a university to the area. And there is a report, I'm sure that we can get it online, but on the website of the city, but I think that they really did a good job in analyzing where a university could be placed and other aspects that it could bring to the city of Roseville. Dr. Robert Fountain with Sac State, he was a real estate instructor there for many years, always said that Roseville was missing that higher education piece, and once we could get that, that would really bring the jobs and build up our economy. And as Mr. Osnick said, keep our students here. in Roseville, keep our kids so that they don't have to go away to college. Because once they go away to college, they may not come back and work the jobs that we need them here in our city. So I think it would all, really keep the youth here, and I think that that's very important. Thank you.
Ms. Gore?
I'm absolutely supportive of a university here in the city of Roseville. As Scott mentioned, it would bring local jobs as we build up the university. It would provide a qualified workforce for businesses currently in our community, as well as he said, supporting businesses to support that university. So it's a great economic driver to have a university here. And as others have mentioned, it's a challenge right now. My husband works at Sacramento City College. There are not enough classes because of the economy for our students at our community colleges. Sierra College has the same problem. We don't have enough classes. And so if kids can't get a university education at the community colleges, it takes 5 years to get through Sacramento State or longer, we need to have other options locally. I have the opportunity of serving as a board of trustee for William Jessup University here in Rockland. And one of the wonderful things about it is we have young people who are educated and highly qualified graduating from that university, coming and working here in our local businesses. And we need that same thing here in the city of Roseville. It would be such a benefit to have a university here in our city.
Mr. Mendonça?
As a former college chair, I understand what it would take to get a four-year university here in Roseville. I know what it would take as far as a budget, how we would run it, the space we're going to need. And the other thing is, here in Roseville, we have so many of the different career paths and the different businesses that would be majors in these particular universities. A four-year university would offer the degree programs that would feed right into our local economy. And these individuals that would go to this university would possibly go to Sierra College, then transfer in, or go right into a four-year university. Either way, these are the driven people that we want to keep in our community. These are the ones that open the businesses. These are the ones that buy their homes, and they pay their mortgages, and they pay their taxes, and they contribute positively to our community. We don't want to lose our youngsters. We don't want to lose our young adults and our teens and our young adults. We need that demographic here in Roseville. We see a lot of changes going on. We're revitalizing our downtown. There's things going on that are attractive to our youth, and we can't afford to lose them because we don't have that four-year university here. We don't want to lose a talent base either. We want to keep the talent here. We want to attract businesses here because we have a diversified, talented workforce because of our university program and the availability of junior colleges as well as private trade colleges here in Roseville and in our neighboring cities. So with that four-year university, we really fill a gap of start, middle, and end in an educational career path that is just beneficial for all of us.
Ms. Rakucci?
We've been very fortunate to have Sierra College, American River, William Jessup, and even Folsom having programs here in this college, and we have Gateway University here, and a lot of other evening courses that we have here. The Roseville City Council for many years have always been interested in education, have had different groups getting together. But I'd have to say what we've done this last time here on council of having the educational task force, we set it up a notch. And what that meant is we've got the educators and a lot of community people together to look in depth a little bit more than maybe we had before. And I think it makes a difference. And what you'll see because of the economy, you won't see a four-year college, at least right now, plop itself in Roseville. But they're talking about doing things that they call campuses. So it might be some extension classes from a CSUS or a four-year school. They might be right next to programs with a two-year program. Classes, and so that we're having more of talking about some campus programs. Nothing's cast in stone, but we're looking at all over and looking at the options that we have. We have some large open space that could accommodate something like that. So we're keeping all our options open because having education in the community, as it says, there's lots of good jobs. It's also good art, and it's there's art, there's sports, there's just and everybody's going back to school. I think it's education is a lifetime experience, and I think it's always good for us.